An alcoholic's daily routine, it just blends into 24 hours of nonsense, really. I used to wake up whenever I woke up, every couple of hours, have a little sip of style lager, maybe push myself out of bed 11 o'clock if I could, and then I used to just sit and wait. Wait for what? Wait for something to change, I think. Nothing ever does change, you see, when you're in active addiction. No one's going to come knocking on your door and rescue you. You have to do something yourself. So I'd wake up, probably be sick. Just used to cough up a lot of bile, really. This yellow gunge. Hadn't been eating very much at all, really. In the end, I ate nothing. Maybe have the odd half a tin of soup every couple of days. My appetite just faded out. I went down to about 9 to 10 stone. I'm 6'3". Imagine what state I was in. Prior to that, I had been going to the pub a little bit and trying to get out, but I was so weak I could hardly get in the pub. I'd be helped in sometimes. It was torture, the whole thing. And it becomes a battle of emotions as well. Your mind is just like, wow, what have I done to myself? How did I get from where I was to the state I was in, how to here? And I think, wow, how have I done it? 57 years old with basically no life. Health had gone completely. My mind was going, I was going crazy. I was having some crazy thoughts about getting myself arrested so I get some help. I couldn't seem to get any help from the GP. I did try and get some diazepam, got refused that. Couldn't afford rehab. Tried a few times to taper off, stay with my parents and things, and that was just bad anyway. You don't want to be living back at home when you've been away for 40 odd years, do you? And then I would do taper off for a week or so, and they would watch me drinking. I mean, what's all that about? And then I would try and sneak a few extra ones when they'd gone to bed. The tapering didn't work. It didn't work. And even though I cut down a little bit, I still felt edgy. Felt very, a lot of anxiety. A lot of, I wish I could get the pub. And the odd time I did taper off to maybe 1 or 2 a day, I'd get straight back in my flat, crack a few cans open, then I'd go to the pub. Waste of time. You have to stop. So my day was just made up of wishing that I hadn't done what I did, and you can't do that. Self-pity is no good. You've got to really try and move forward with it. But it's not easy. It's very difficult, and that's why people die of it, often. That's why the hospitals are full, and I mean full, the liver wards are bursting at the seams. Alcohol-related deaths are highest ever, because we can't seem to break this cycle of thinking it's going to do us some good. It does you no good. So I had a few drinks after being sick. I used to mix a little bit of Stella with lemonade. I had the terrible shakes, uncontrollable shakes. So it's really, really difficult to pour a can into a glass, I used to just drink it out of the can, and I used to just lie in the bed again. I had no strength at all to do anything. The flat was a total mess. Living in squalor. I mentioned before, I had rats in the flat. I couldn't allow anybody in. It was such a bad state of decay, and I just was going downhill further and further. I couldn't get any help. I didn't know what to do. That was the problem. I did not know what to do. And then I used to think, I'll call an ambulance, or they won't see me, or there's this, that, and the other. And my day was just taken up by listening to a bit of music. I had a couple of songs on my iPad. I didn't have any hot water, all this sort of thing. And I used to go round and round this 24-hour cycle, listen to the radio in the middle of the night, and then I'd, sometimes try and get a bit of sleep. I'm going to be better in the morning. It was always the same, again, if not worse. And I used to get post. I wouldn't open the post. I was frightened to do that. I had so much anxiety. I was frightened to go for a walk in case I collapsed, and all this sort of thing. And it went on for months, not just days and weeks, months and months, probably years, really. Rarely my daughter would come from Manchester and take me to my parents and try and have a meal there, and they knew I was in the state. I used to sneak beer in my rucksack. It's difficult being an alcoholic when you're addicted to lager, because you've got a massive volume. I suppose people who drink spirits will just have a little bottle somewhere, but I had to open the can and cough, masking the noise of opening the can, and like that. It was horrendous. The whole lifestyle was indescribable. If you haven't been there, it's hard to imagine it. It's the worst place I've ever been in my life, mentally and physically. Emotionally, I was just completely down, down, down. In the end, I managed to get to the pub one night, and one of the lads, your stomach is massively swollen. And I thought it was a beer belly, but it wasn't. It was ascites fluid that I mentioned earlier, and spontaneous bacterial peritonitis, which is very serious. Only 50% of people come out of hospital when they're admitted with that. And he had this massive hernia, about the size of 2 tennis balls at the time. Because the fluid's got to go somewhere, and it'll go where the weakest skin is, which is the umbilical area. Umbilicus, I think it's called. So I had this big stomach, I was weak, I was grey. And I asked another lad that I knew, do I look ill? He said, you look effing horrendous, mate. I thought, well, why didn't he tell me that? People don't want to tell you. They don't want to tell you. And then I'd go back and I'd start drinking again, and maybe have a little bit of cheese or something, just not eating. That's the problem. You don't eat, you see. You're just drinking to make yourself try and function. I wasn't showering properly. I hadn't shaved for days, long hair. I hadn't got the hairdressers. I used to get anxiety when I had to go to the hairdressers as well. I used to have a drink before I did anything. Before this, and I used to think, well, if I have a drink, I'll be able to go to the hairdressers. Otherwise, I'll be sitting there shaking like that. I can't bloody get a haircut without having a few drinks. I'd have 4 or 5 pints, and I'd be, cut it how you want it, It was great. Life was great with a few pints on board. But to try and live sober, impossible for me. It was absolutely impossible at that time to do that. And so you just sit and waste. You waste away, basically. That's what you do. That's what your day is. You're wasting away. You don't go out anywhere. You don't see anybody. You don't enjoy your life. You don't get back to nature. You don't walk in the rain, dance in the rain, whatever you do now, whatever I do nowadays. I had no partner. My genuine friends had all disappeared. A lot of them I left in London anyway when I moved back up north. But the whole of my life just crumbled, and it crumbled very quickly. I was fortunate I had a little bit of money where I could at least pay my mortgage, so I didn't have that stress. But I can imagine if you've got that stress on top of all the other things, then it must be even worse, because I probably would have drunk more and more. So eventually one of the guys in the pub said, you must go to hospital. And I still wanted my days to continue, he said. I still wanted my days to go on. I didn't want to go to hospital. I was too frightened to go to hospital. I knew there was something seriously wrong with me, but I didn't want to hear the words from the doctors, you see. And when I went to the hospital, it was a couple of days, I was in the acute medical ward, and they drained all this fluid off. And it wasn't until about 2 or 3 days later, I said to one of the doctors, what actually is wrong with me? And she said, I'll go and get the liver specialist to pop in. And she came in and she said, all she said was, this is what she said. Okay, Mr. Curry, you have liver cirrhosis and you are seriously ill. And the nurse will be at you in about an hour. That was it. And I was completely blown away by that, emotionally gone. It broke me in 10 pieces, broke me in 100 pieces. And I was just lying there thinking, God almighty, what's happened to my life? Who do I tell first? My daughter, my friends, my parents, It was earth-shattering news to me, that. And I knew I was way, way down the line with it. And by some sort of miracle, I got back here. That's subject of other videos. But getting back to your day-to-day living and how you cope, you just barely exist. That's all you do. You barely exist. And it's very easy to get into this state, you see, because I still believe there's 4 stages, 4.5 actually, or 5 if you want to call it that. First stage is social drinking when you're young and crazy, and you have a great time and your body can cope. Second stage is moderate, still when you're young really. Third stage is when you drink a lot more than you should really, but you're still bad off. You think, well, everyone else is drinking, I'll drink as well. 3.5 is when you drink and you start to lose things. You start to lose time. You start to lose money. You start to lose your relationships. Your wife's left. Your finances are up the spout. You've got problems at work. You maybe lose your license if you drink drive, all this sort of thing. And that's the dangerous phase. And you get to stage 4 where I was, and you lost everything because you've fallen off the edge of the cliff. So if you're at stage 3, 3.5, where you know you're drinking too much and it's doing you harm, then you must get some help. Contact me, I'll do some mentoring with you. I'm here to help you because I don't want anybody else to go through what I went through. It was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. Sometimes I just think, how do I describe how I felt? It's hard, it really is. And when I went in for the operations, I used to say, obviously I was getting general anaesthetics, and I just lie back and think, goodbye world, and it was horrendous, that, And when I woke up, I was ecstatic. I had such a like a will to live, And the nurse said, God, you're a bit excited. I said, well, I'm here, I'm back to life. I had 3 major operations, and once ended up in intensive care. So it's a horrendous emotional roller coaster. And I know a lot of you are going through it, because I've got a lot of private messages coming through from people who need help. And reach out, get some help. There's a lot of subscribers on here as well who've got a lot of experience of this. They will help, they will support you, and so will I. And please get in touch. If you benefit from the channel, which I hope you do, because this is real stuff, this is real life and death, it's serious gear, this. There's no bullshit here. There's only 2 ways you're going to go. You take the wrong path, you end up in an early grave. You take the correct path, you've got a good chance of surviving a bit longer, a lot longer in some cases, depending on your age, depending on your health. But every day is a good day when you're sober, and sobriety will give you a lot back, a hell of a lot back. Alcoholism will take everything, and I mean everything, including your life, from you. Have a sober weekend. I'll speak to you soon.